Hi, my name is Terri Jenkins, and I'm Director for Simulation of Academic Programs at the University of Texas in Arlington. Well, my history in simulation started when I was working at an ADN program in New Mexico, and the director there had received some grant money, and she had said that we were going to buy some simulator that actually breathed, and she had seen it at a conference, and we were all excited about it. But when it came, it sat in a box. And so I was going through the lab closet, and I'm going, somebody ought to break this out of the box. So my first experience with SimMan was actually opening the box, getting out the instructor manual, and putting him together. That's where I started, and that was about 10 or 11 years ago. And since that time, I've had a lot more experience, both with SimMan and his whole family. Well, our program right now, the Smart Hospital at the University of Texas at Arlington, has about 25 beds. 2 of them are movable. We like to remain flexible. And around 40 mannequins right now. Now, we would love more space. We are bursting at the seams, but we have successfully integrated simulation throughout most of our courses, at least our clinical courses in the College of Nursing, and we plan to add several different things like care of multiple patients, and we're still working on that, and using it as end program summative evaluation. Oh, the benefits of coming to a Sun are many and varied. My favorite part, even though I came as a speaker this year, my favorite part is just sitting around a table and talking with people from other areas. I found that we can laugh at stories about how we got started, or with new people, how they're getting started. I can laugh about mistakes we've made and tell other people, oh, you want to watch out for that. But I learn something new every time I come. Some of the best practices that we use, we've been developing scenarios for a while. We've moved a little bit. We've changed our model in our nursing program to, instead of looking at 15-minute scenarios, a lot of what nurses do doesn't take place in 15 minutes. 15 minutes is like stabilization and treatment and moving them out, transfer. But a lot of nursing takes place over time. It's a process. And so as we look at best practices, we wanted our nurses and our simulations to reflect what a nurse actually does in practice 90% of the time. That takes place over time. So we've extended the length of our scenarios, has been one of the things we do. And we've been developing those scenarios for sale on SimStore. And so a lot of the things we do is testing. We write, we bring students in, we test, we send them to content experts, and then we test again, make revisions, and finally our products go up. At this Sun conference, I was invited to be a panelist on running a simulation center and planning for simulation centers. And so I was able to share some of my experience. Even though I haven't been director for very long, some of the same commonalities that we all face, I've faced this in this past year. The opening scenario was great. I loved the film lead into it. Whoever did that film, that was very, very good. And I loved seeing how the simulation went through different areas, because it was really 3 or 4 scenarios in itself as it progressed. Well, when we talk about scenarios in the future for the Sun Conference, it's hard to decide because you do have a limited amount of time. Being a nurse, some of the things that we do take place over time. I love to see, though, the emergency things that were at this conference and that are at most conferences, and I just think that those are fun to watch. Last year in Dallas, I loved seeing the labor and delivery film, and so a lot of people have great ideas on that, and I always like to see whatever anybody comes up with. If I had any advice to give to new users, I think what I would say is don't give up, don't surrender. There are a lot of bumps and potholes along the journey in simulation, and some seem very major at the time. I know funding is one, and not having the funds for everything that you would like. But when you come to a conference like that, a lot of people share ways to do things that perhaps you haven't thought about before. So there is a plethora of different ways of doing things, of getting to the same end, and you don't have to have everything all at once. I'd say be patient, start small, work up, be creative, use your imagination.